Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Tara Fitzpatrick, Senior Editor for Food Management. I am so excited that you've joined us for today's webinar on menu innovation in challenging times. Today's webinar is sponsored by Nestle Miners. Before we get started, I've got a couple of quick housekeeping details for you guys. First of all, this session is being recorded and will be available on demand following the webinar at our website, food-management.com. That's in case you want to go back or if you have a colleague that couldn't make it at this time. We'll follow up after the webinar with a link so you can see that on demand. Registration is free, so you can share this with any of your colleagues to view at any time. And second, please ask your questions whenever using the Q&A widget on your screen. We'll have the opportunity for some Q&A with our speakers after the presentation, but you can jump in at any time with as many questions as you would like. And we're going to try to get to everybody because we want this to be kind of have a brainstormy feel to it. And like you're going to be getting some ideas, some menu ideas. So we would like to hear what you have to say too. And even if you are not an operator, if you've just seen some cool idea, feel free to share that because we really want to have like a round robin situation going on. So, all right, let's get started with our program for today. We have to say, menu innovation, it's always been challenging. This is why it's a tough job. Don't have to tell you guys this, but the last couple of years has brought even more challenges. Like things are pretty ridiculous, from the supply chain to workforce issues. Staying ahead of the curve in menu development, it seems kind of hard. It seems challenging and daunting, but we've gathered some great panelists together and we're gonna come up with some discussion on how to overcome these challenges and these obstacles. So I would definitely like to welcome, I'm just gonna name everybody who's here and then we'll talk to them all individually. We have Nazim Khan, Executive Chef at Bryan Medical Center. Michael Geis, Senior Executive Chef with Carolina Dining Services. Joey Martin, Senior Executive Chef at UCLA Dining. And we have Jeffrey Pasha, who is Director of Culinary Retail Innovation with Morrison Healthcare. So we have such a great variety of people and kind of from like across the country. And I am here in the Cleveland, Ohio area. So we've got it all covered. Let's absolutely just jump right in. And I have the same question for all of my guests. And I think we could go a little round robin with it. Starting with Nazim, how would you say that your customers have changed during these crazy times? You are in a hospital setting, but like, what are some things, how have things been changing, I guess, is what I want to ask for everybody. And we'll start with Nazim.
Yeah, it's hello everyone. Chef Nazim Khan from Bryan Medical Center. Yes, when pandemic started, we did not allow any guests to come into our dining hall. So we do like at least 40% of our clientele comes from outside to eat lunch and seeing the patients' families and stuff. So we have a limited guest, but then our in-house volume got bigger. So that means nurses are so busy. They are doing 12 hours to 18-hour shifts. So now they need to eat dinner. So with their family or, all those things happen. So what do we have to do? We have to take a deep breath and we have to see how our process should work. So then we start doing grab and go item more. So then we start doing groceries so people can get some grocery from our all outlet. And then we decided to do Hearts to Home. So Hearts to Home programs that what we have done that, we create either cold or hot food ready to go that you can heat at your home, like a dinner package. And also you did one article about that, Tara. And then we also did like group-wise, doctors, friends, family, whoever wants to buy it and they can take it from us and heat and serve or ready to go meal. So that we have created in our COVID era. So now we are passing COVID. So now things kind of opening up, people are coming into our places. So we kind of ease out on those. Still, we are servicing those stuff, but we have more retail right now. So we are open. Our salad bar got open, We do lots of tossed salads. All our stations are open. So we're kind of getting normalized right now. Yeah, that's all I can. Yeah.
So good to see the salad bars coming back, because like for on-site dining, when they took away the salad bars, that was one of the cruelest things that the pandemic did, because it was just like, oh, this was really like a cornerstone, and then doing that differently. So staying in the healthcare for just a second, let's go to Jeffrey. Like you have maybe more of a bird's eye view, because you're sort of overseeing many different places from around the country. So would you say that like retail healthcare dining it's coming back, but in a different way? Like how would you kind of portray that?
Well, I think we've been rapidly accelerated, 5 years into the future because of the pandemic. Just like Nazim, originally when the pandemic first started, we were doing pop-up markets in groceries trying to get our guests, the product that they couldn't get in the grocery stores, and we were doing take-home meals that were more in line with what you were seeing, people ordering at home, the pizza, the Chinese food, the easy applications or the easy global cuisines that they could purchase, by picking up the phone before people started branching out and using mobile apps. But, now going back to the 5 years into the future, we've seen a shift with because of the pandemic, we created our InSeed app, which is our mobile ordering. We've introduced pickup cubbies. We built virtual and ghost kitchens. So we've accelerated actually our retail spaces and kind of reset the space. And then we've identified other spaces too. Besides the cafeteria, we're engaging, is it the outside space? Are we doing like a rooftop style restaurant, a food truck, a ghost kitchen, a virtual kitchen? Are we delivering? So we've actually taken our hospital campuses and spread it out because we had restrictions with, 6 feet apart, or that we wanted to engage spaces that we weren't engaging before. So I think, in some part, the industry has been forced to evolve and change.
Right. And that's one of the silver linings, I think, that we've found like in this industry, is that it has sort of fast forwarded. Like this is what we're, because it seems like for a while before the pandemic, like apps were kind of like, oh, that's neat. That's a novelty. But now it's like, yeah, we need to be doing this. So what about at UNC, Michael? How are things getting back in the swing of things now? You've had like a whole school year pretty much. Like are the kids done yet with school?
Yes, the kids, the students have
students
have gone. Some have graduated, the rest have gone home, but they'll be back. But this year, starting in the fall, things slowly started to get back to normal. The mask requirements stopped here on campus. I think it was this semester. The limited seating and social distance that we had to have in the dining halls. College students, they're just not built for that. They want to be together. They want to, they gather, they graze and gather. So I think this past semester, that we've got more people in the dining halls, increased seatings, and that's gone a long way. But some of the things that we had during the pandemic, the online ordering and the delivery, it's still there.
That's going to stay.
Yeah, that's going to stay. And actually the catering, that stopped during the pandemic, and that's actually getting very busy again. So, people just want to be together now.
It's very true. And catering is such a big part of many of our readers' operations. Like catering is sort of like something behind the scenes that makes a lot of money, and it's able to come back. So that's very cool. Joey, how about UCLA? Now, folks, we can't see Joey, but hopefully we can hear him and he can hear us.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So tell me about UCLA. Like, how's things been getting back together there?
Well, I'm very, the other chefs on the panel, I'm very impressed by their memory, because I can't remember when fall, it seemed like years ago when we first started up. So we're back to 32,000 meals, pretty much normal service. Like everybody, we had to move around. We had to do the mobile apps, and we've had to shift gears here and there. But I think the major component that we've been really hit by is labor shortage. So a lot of the innovations and menu development that we had kind of was put on hold because of our labor shortage. So we're back up and running. You know, we have about 3 more weeks of this academic school year. Then we kind of get to reset for summer, and we're sure hoping that come this fall coming up that we are in a lot better place.
Absolutely. Things just hopefully keep getting better, definitely. And I've got a next question, and this is a little bit related, kind of post-pandemic, but like, have you altered your menu so you're doing more with less SKUs, as they say? Or I actually learned that from Jeffrey, SKUs. But how have you guys changed? Like, are you doing better with like a more limited idea type thing? So maybe Jeffrey, you'd like to jump in first, because you had been talking about, I think there was a salsa verde that you had mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. So we talk about SKU optimization. You know, there's been a trend across the country with about a 13% decrease in menu sizes, you know, post-pandemic. And chefs have had to work smarter, not harder. So we use the rule of 3, and I've actually kind of stretched it to 5. So, you know, we have to be able to justify when we bring an ingredient in, does it serve at least 3 purposes across, you know, multiple? Can it be used in patient meals, catering meals, doctor's dining, or in a retail setting? So, you know, instead of just bringing in an ingredient because it sounds great, you know, we really want to make sure that it's the right product, the right fit, that it has multiple purposes for us. With that being said, you know, I talk about the Five Guys method. You go to Five Guys and they've got a hamburger, a cheeseburger, and a hot dog. You don't go to Five Guys for a chicken sandwich. You go to Chick-fil-A for a chicken sandwich. So with that being said, you know, what we've done is we've created a lot of pop-up restaurant and, you know, we call them like restaurant takeovers or pop-up concepts that has, instead of trying to do 15 things mediocre, we do 3 to 5 things great. So, you know, Take a Bow might have 3 signature bows and then an upsell item and then a signature appetizer. So, you know, we've constructed, you know, over, I think, 54 pop-up style restaurants so that our units can feature throughout the year. And then we also talk about menuing with intention. You know, you don't want to feature a caprese salad on your salad station in December when those tomatoes might be out of season. So having concepts and menus with intention, I think those are all ways that you can control those SKUs. With our ghost kitchen models, we actually created 10 concepts from 57 ingredients. So, you know, that's where I was talking to you about, you know, if you, instead of purchasing a cabbage slaw, you know, what if you bought Napa cabbage, you know, regular cabbage, you julienne some cucumbers, and you had some julienne cucumber and some julienne onion, and then you mashed all that up together and you added some Alabama barbecue sauce. If you took a sous vide pulled pork and you put that on a brioche bun, you have a pulled pork sandwich. But if you took that same cabbage slaw and you added a little bit of rice wine vinegar to it, some salt, pepper, and olive oil, and then you put that on top of rice, and then you take that same pulled pork sous vide, you put that on top, you now have a bowl, which is on trend. But if you took that same cabbage slaw and you slightly pickled it, put it on top of a demi baguette with chipotle mayonnaise, and then you now have a banh mi with that same pulled pork. So that's kind of what we're doing. Is we took a step back and we really want to cross-utilize. You know we did a good job writing certain recipes. So, and it's all about that menu innovation, but SKU optimization, I think, is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, I think so. And that seems like that probably would be a best practice for any time. Like, I mean, obviously we're never going to have like unlimited, like all that you want. So it's like, it's kind of nice to be smart about how you're going to put that together. Nazim, I wanted you to tell about the food truck. This is like one of my favorite things. I've followed this truck, and it's not really a truck, and it's FAUX''D.
Right.
It's not a real truck. I love this story. Just quickly, just tell us like what it's all about.
Yeah. Before I get into that, I'm like 100% totally agree with Chef Jeffrey that, you know, cross utilization. That's very important. You know, when coming out from a French kitchen, so it's all about your mise en place and how you divert your mise en place with 10 different directions. So that's the key part. And then when I came to Bryan Health, everything was like your old school dining service there, scooping, like school cafeteria. but I break down to all the stations. So you have a noodle station, pizza station, panini stations, all the stations when you create, and then you can cross-utilize your smoked meat to regular pulled meat to other meats to other different directions. That's the key. And more like action. People like to see how you're building your street taco, how you're building your meatball sub, how you're building your Caesar salad. Like tomorrow is my Caesar Wednesday, so I will serve 200 to 225 each Wednesday for each campus, because we're building that Caesar salad for them and putting some Parmesan crisp on it. If you just leave it as it is, people don't really take, okay, probably 10 or 15. But when you're building, creating that garlic confit and all those things together, people say, oh my God, I wanted to have a Caesar salad today. So anyway, let's go back.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Let's go back to the food truck. I was pandemic era. I was thinking about buying one food truck that I would like to drive to my all campuses and serve a food truck each day in different campus. Of course, there's a budget cut, so I cannot have it. I said, but I cannot stop. I have to think about something different. So me and my director, Mike Dixon, when we're brainstorming, then I said, why we probably will create a banner as a food truck banner, and then we're just gonna start from behind the banner. So that's all about food truck. Then Mike said, okay, we'll talk about food truck, not as a food truck. I said, okay, whatever. I will just wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So, now, one of the university asked me how I do that, so I have them connected with my print shop. So my print shop done an awesome job. So every month we come up with a menu. Like last month was a full-blown Indian. This month was your real home-cooked meal. So it's like full beef, full chicken with the mac and cheese and stuff like that. So we do every month is a different menu. We did tacos, street tacos. Every month we change, and we do our Hello Brian. We do ad on it, and people know. So we go on the social media, and then on the food truck day we serve only for 2 hours, and we sell 200 meal for each campus, and it's very very easy. 1, 2, 3. People form a line. We have that mobile app and your API deductions. Anyway, we just collect the money, and it's been fun. People wait for it, and they always say that, Chef, what is next month? I said, that's surprise. You'll find out week before. And also I try to throw up some theme meal menu desserts or salads. That also is surprise too. So they always like to see that surprise what I'm coming up with that menu. It's going really well.
Just that element of something different, and you capture the spirit of food trucks, which is like, we have maybe 4 or 5, 6 things on the menu, and they're all amazing and they're cool, and you're gonna love it.
And also the location change. So it's not like your dining area. So we take the banner and the pole stick and set it up in, say, in front of the ER room, like side of that, or going to mommy baby's tower. So we just go around that corner. Or we go to, now summer coming up, so I'm thinking about doing it in a parking lot. If there's no wind, so then I'll be doing like a great job on outside of parking lot. So that's my next goal.
Yeah, and it's so cool that you did that just like by working with the print shop. Like, it's nothing. It's, if you look at it, it's not that fancy. It's kind of a piece of cardboard, but it's like an idea that you've like put into action.
It's a banner, and we all have that access. All the university, healthcare, we all have access with the print shop.
What's your print shop?
And it doesn't have to be food truck banner. It could be like your theme, like Chinese temple or beautiful scenery or stuff like that. Then you can cut a window and then you just serve it behind the window.
For sure. So let's continue talking about littler or limited menus or concepts. Joey, what do you think?
I think that here at UCLA, we have each of our dining locations are a different theme, different culinary theme. So it's between Mediterranean, Pan-Asian, food of America. So that kind of gives us a good variety of food to start with. We also have a bakery and commissary on premises. So we produce all our own bread. The only thing we don't produce is bagels and English muffins. So everything else is kind of made from scratch. And we also have a commissary where we make our own hamburger patties, sauces, dressings, everything is made from scratch. So taking that good quality ingredients and having those locations being different dining destinations has really allowed us to expand our menu, but still serve some core items. We also, we have a buy-in from the whole team, from the chancellor down. Everybody is on the same page. We're pointing in the same direction. So it's very easy for us to kind of make sure everybody understands what we're trying to do. And I think that really helps out, is when everybody's on the same page, striving to do things the right way for our students. It's really helped us out with being creative. And we, even with the pandemic happening, I think we really pushed innovation still. We never wanted to use the pandemic as an excuse not to expand our portfolio. So we kept pushing daily for that.
That's so good to hear, because it's and you're just did things in a different way and moving forward in different ways too. And how about in Carolina, Michael? What are you thinking of in terms of doing less with more, or like making ingredients work smarter?
Oh, absolutely. I think we didn't really alter our menus a lot, but it taught us to be a lot more flexible, because in the dining halls, you don't really want a blank spot, an empty station. So you always want to put something in there. And one of the ways to, for variety, was to have the chefs more in the dining room. So we did a lot of the chef pop-ups. And that, the sky was the limit on what we were doing. We were doing duck confit salad, yuca fries with lamb picadillo, spiced mango crepes, just to get the chefs out in the dining room. And, and that's something that I want to continue, to have more, more chef presence in the dining room.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that saved us a little bit, we suffered through the, tough supply chain crunch, but we purchased a lot of our proteins and, our milk, our cheese, they're local. So we're kind of buffered a little bit with that. We still felt some pain, but that was a nice thing to have going on.
Yeah. And it's cool too. That could be a whole nother webinar, like how to work with your local farmers, how to support that, how to do that. Because there's a lot of things that I still need to learn about that and how that works, for sure. So let's see, we talked about this. I wanted to get into this one, kind of a little bit of a sidetrack, but very relevant to our conversation. And it's about generational differences. So the folks who are in college, you guys have like more of a window like into the mind of somebody that's like 18 to 25 years old right now, which is Gen Z. And that's kind of like a group that everybody is watching. So staying with you, Michael, what do you think, how are they different from seniors and boomers? Like what are some like hallmarks, generalizations you could make about?
I don't know. I don't think I feed a lot of seniors, but I think just in general, from what I see, the Gen Z, it's more flexitarian lifestyle. They're very open to trying new flavors. They do want their standards, their comfort. They want the mac and cheese, they want the chicken tenders. You could have that every day, but they'll definitely go for trying new things. And I've seen also, I think maybe a little bit more focus on the healthy part of the, eating as far as allergens. There seems to be a little bit of uptick on maybe allergen awareness. We have, a station that's called Simply Prepared that cuts out the 8, major allergens, and also working with the registered dietitian. Her and I would do pop-ups with that health in mind. So I kind of saw an uptick in that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Joey, same question, but you're in California. So a lot of times it's more like, I feel like that was one of the first places that knew about like gourmet pizza or what vegetarian food was or what sprouts are. So it's like you're seeing the cutting edge, like, and what I've noticed too is like there's more inclusivity. It's not like there aren't so many gatekeeper vegans, or maybe if they are, people aren't paying as much attention. It's not like you're not a good enough vegan or you're not doing right. But like, what is the vibe like in California? And of course, you have many international students too.
So we partner with a lot of student groups and do focus groups to kind of really understand what they're looking for. I think when people automatically they say vegan and vegetarian, I think the perception before was very tasteless, but there's so much spices and herbs and different things now, especially with analog meat, that we could provide them. So we listen to them. We take all their suggestions. We do have tastings with them. And then what we really find by the whole Gen Z kind of student group here is the customization. So we have a few of our restaurants do a lot of customizing. So whether it be bowls of pizzas, sandwiches, some Latin food, or even the Asian food, they can customize their own dish. And I think they really enjoy being able to have that component in their dining.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a hallmark of Gen Z is the customization piece. So that's definitely still happening. And in terms of healthcare, Nazim, you're feeding many different age groups. I mean, there's a lot. So how do you sort of keep that things that everyone's going to like?
Well, Gen Z are the child of Gen X, right? So, so Chef Michael was saying that, of course, they're looking for their comfort zone food. That is their mac and cheese, white mac and cheese, and some chicken tender and stuff. At the same time, they're a very diverse group. So that means their friend circle, the way they're combined, all our young nurses, they're all different from Asian, American, white, black, Indian. So we have that multicultural young nurses there start in our work group now. So they're very open. So Chef Michael was saying that chefs need to be out there to doing some station action going on. You already know that I do salad action stations every Thursday and Friday, 2 different campuses with the local. And chefs also be involved with the local. So I'm a Nebraska State Food Council member. So I know all my local ingredients. I know all my local produce that who growing what food and what I can get every week. So those are the stuff like those Gen Z is looking for. They're coming in, they say, Chef, what is the salad for this week and how you can put together, what kind of vinaigrette, what kind of pulled meat, what kind of vegetarian options that you have, and all those things that it is a one clientele. And then when we go to our Gen X and other older crowd that, who loves meats and potato, and of course, you have that trend also, need to have your regular sliced roast beef, your mashed potato, all those regular comfort food, green beans and stuff like that. That also we have. And that's what's good part about, when you break down your dining hall to a different stations, so it becomes a crowd pleasure. So it's not only one type of food, you got all different varieties of food, but different way of doing it. But your mise en place pretty much the same, so you can divert all different directions.
Yeah. And I think all generations are starting to get more of an interest in, how are you making this? I just feel like everybody's getting in on the act. It's not just young people. So did you have
more questions these days? People always wanted to ask, hey, how that get prepared? If chefs are out there and talking about it, and also letting them know about the ingredients, jicama. How does the jicama taste like? Is that crunchy, less sour than apple? That little bite. So what is lotus roots? You have to educate your clientele so they will know, okay, I never tried that before. Please try it. So when chef asks somebody to please try it, they don't really back down. They said, okay, I'll try it, chef. Give me a little piece. Next, they already know how the jicama tastes like, how the lotus root tastes like. So that's important too.
It's very true. It's very true. And did you want to add anything to that, Jeffrey, kind of about the generations?
Well, I think it's a little bit of everything that, all of the chefs have mentioned. We were so focused on the food before the pandemic and looking at trends of, consumption, adoption, proliferation, ubiquity. But, we've actually looked more at the generational data and kind of gone old school with menu engineering, and I talk about if you look at the X, the Ys, the Zs, the boomers, so we kind of take the 20, 30, 30, 20 approach that, we have to make sure that our menus are designed for all of the generations, because we have teaching hospitals, we have global hospitals, but then we have, everything from like, the young kids in children's hospitals to the older generations that are coming in. So you have to have comfort-centric, but just like Nazim, comfort-centric can be completely flipped upside down. And, instead of country fried steak, we're doing country fried cauliflower, with a veg-centric, veg-forward gravy that's going on top. Or we're making our mashed potatoes with olive oil, and we're not putting butter in them anymore. So we can say that, this is a plant-forward approach. And then our guests are asking where the food is coming from. Could we source the produce within 50 or 75 miles? Is it BIPOC? Is it fair food? And then, I think we have 5, we're about to launch our 6, 100% plant-forward, zero waste vegetable pop-up restaurants that we've created. So, and, our guests are really enjoying that. We're using, instead of every part of the pig except for the oink, we're using every part of the vegetable from root to stem. So there are no waste. And it's from cauliflower, which is, on trend everywhere, to mushrooms or tomatoes. So I think our guests are really excited because we're always trying to drive innovation. I think, Joey and Michael were talking about that we have to go from surviving to thriving post-pandemic. And I think that's one of the biggest aspects that our guests are looking for in all generations.
Yeah, that's so true. And in your answers, you guys all kind of touched on the next thing that I was going to talk about. I think we kind of rolled it together, which was like the meat and potatoes challenge. Because many times when I talk to people, like sort of just down and like, the only thing they like here is meat and potatoes. Like I'm in Pennsylvania. I don't know what it is, or it's chicken tenders. Like the kids only want the chicken tenders. But I think the answer to that is just making stuff really neat. And then the education piece that Nazim talked about, like what is jicama? What does it taste like? Will you try this lotus when you have it? So I wanted to jump right into my next question, which is examples of bowls. This is a trend that I've seen kind of growing through the pandemic because bowls are easy to grab and go. You can put anything in there, any flavor profile. You can make them really good plant-based with like lots of those proteins in there and the elements with the crunch and the creamy sauce. So I wondered if each of you had an example of a bowl that you've done that was just hot, that was just like amazing. So who wants to start? Nazim.
Okay, I can go. When we renovate our Bryan Medical Center cafeteria, so from old school style to new generation style. So first thing that I did that is called noodle bowl. So noodle bowl stations, everybody, including my ex-director and everybody was saying that, chef, nobody is going to eat that. So nobody wanted to have noodles. We are meat and potato country. I said, okay. Well, we need to try. We need to educate our teammates and guests from outside, and they can enjoy. So, but instead of like 5 style, I try to create 4 different flavor profiles. So 2 is coconut-based red curry sauce, and also red curry broth, and also green coconut curry broth. Then you have your vegetable mushroom broth, and also we have some beef broth. Then we have whole beef, chicken, and also your seafood. And then lots of veggies. That's where all the veggies comes in. People need to see what is lotus root look like, what is bamboo shoots look like, what is hearts of palm look like, what goes in there. Then I start standing into that station and try to explain every dish. And the sugar snap peas, eat it raw or like last in the minute in the boiling water, we just dunk it in and put it into the bowl. So I start educating. And after that, now I don't need to tell anybody. All the nurse, like if guests from outside to visiting their friends, family in a hospital. So if they have questions about any veggies or how the noodle bowl comes in, next on the line in the nurse is explaining that, okay, chef will create this noodle bowl for you, this. Because that was my training process for 3 months, investing on them, educating them. So then noodle bowl takes on the highest selling stations in our cafeteria. Then what about like full meat bowl, burrito bowl, breakfast bowl, fried eggs with your hash browns and other things. So we do lots of different type of bowl, including your cereal bowl we have lots of different type of yogurt profile, different type of fruit profile, different type of sauce profile goes in there. So bowl is used, and I think bowl is easy to eat because everything in there, and it's like easy to scoop.
Yeah.
But a flat plate, lots of sauce or veggies can go in all different directions. So it is simple. Yeah. It is simple to eat. Yeah. I mean, I grew up with eating everything in a bowl. So yeah, it is a cool concept, from sweet to savory, and plus any direction you can take them. You're making a pasta, you can call it pasta bowl. Any ethnicity event or food profile you wanted to bring it in, that can be in the bowl. So
it's going to fit in there.
For outlet.
Yeah, and when you talk about comfort food, because that is something that's so important that we never can forget about in any of the segments, because it's really like the meals are providing comfort. So what's better than just like a bowl and the broth and the bone broth? And the idea of bone broth got popular, I think, but it's always kind of been made out of bones, or, beef stock is that you have the roasted bones, but sort of bringing that to the forefront. People are like, hey, there's bones in it. This is good for you. This has, stuff from the marrow. It's good stuff. So Jeffrey, what about you? What's a bowl that you guys have really gotten excited about?
Well, I'm actually at UVA in Charlottesville, Virginia, today, and they're launching our Harvest Station for the first time. So it's 100% vegetarian, bowl-based station. But it's kind of in line with Kava Grill. So it all starts with the schmear, which I'm pretty excited about. So all the bowls start with that hummus. So it might be edamame hummus, black bean hummus, sriracha hummus, and a lot of those are plant-based too. So it goes into that whole no waste from cross-utilization of product that they're using to prep the station. And then it's a half a cup of grains. And then the guests have the option of choosing almost 2 cups of vegetables that are raw, pickled, roasted. So, if I was going to go upstairs and go get a bowl build right now, then I would do the sriracha hummus with the quinoa, the tricolor quinoa, and then I would top that with pickled onions. I think there's a roasted jardiniere vegetable, and then it's got buffalo cauliflower bites and a whipped crazy jalapeno. They've got a whipped hummus, a whipped feta cheese upstairs. So, and then of course, some garnishes. It might have Cajun pepitas would go on top of that. So just like Nazim, it's all about there's crunch and then there's schmear and there's spread, and you eat with your eyes. And then if the guest doesn't know what something is, then we have tasting spoons and we want them to try it and get excited about it. And then, if people are looking for that plant-based protein, I know upstairs they're featuring a Beyond Meatball that we did kind of old school with a panada, where we soaked the breadcrumbs in coconut milk and used that as the base before we added caramelized onions to the plant-based proteins. So we just want to keep people on their toes and keep them excited. So this was more Mediterranean, but we could easily flip that to Asian or Latin, with the same station setup. So I'm all excited about bowls. I think my boss might be getting bowled out, but just like Nazim, we've got ramen and we've got Thai, and even for breakfast, we've done breakfast ramen bowls with. We did a bacon ramen broth that we melted American cheese into, and that goes over ramen, and then you drop a poached egg on top with a big piece of pork belly. And for Ramen Republic, and people have just gone crazy for that.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so good.
Yeah, I feel one menu item that I wanted to add on with Jeffrey that goes very well in our dining in a vegetarian option. So that is a quinoa and a lentil kofta bowl. So that is kofta bowl made with a lentil and quinoa and a little bit of tofu, and then we serve with a tikka masala sauce with your rice and also roasted curry cauliflower. That people love it. Every Thursday we sell tons of it. Vegetarian option.
And food management readers and watchers, you're in for a treat, because for the first time we're doing a food video. My colleague Nora made one of Nazim's recipes, and it is kofta. It is a curry kofta, and it looks incredible. I saw a little sneak preview of it, so we're going to be sharing that along with my upcoming menu mix story that's all about curries. And I'll give you just a sneak preview for everybody here. The headline is going to be "No worries when you try these curries." So,
good one there.
Right? So, Michael, what are some bowls that you have been doing very well with?
A couple different kinds. Actually, a poke bowl with either tuna or tofu has been really popular. The acai bowls. And then as far as some of the healthier bowls, different grains, as the other chefs mentioned. I've even done the sorghum grains. I've collaborated again with the registered dietitian. We've done local rice grits with honeycomb and local goat cheese bowl.
Putting honeycomb on anything. Wow, that's instantly like amazing. Honeycomb. I mean, it's cool.
And then I have a vegetable spiralizer, more of an industrial size one. And when you take that out there to the station and you spiralize beets or carrots, whatever, toss that in any kind of vinaigrette and top a bowl with that, it's always a winner. It's a crowd pleaser. And, I just had some notes while the chefs were talking. Roasted chickpeas and microgreens, it's always a chance to use just a little bit. It doesn't break the bank. And I just wrote color. I think just colorful food, people love it.
I love that idea. Yep, that's a good tip. And how about you, Joey? Talk about bowls, because I'm not ready for this trend to be over. I don't think it's going to be over.
Yeah, so we developed an actual restaurant that, so UCLA is the Bruins, right? So we call it Bruin Bowl. And what we did is we kind of put a little twist on it. So we made it like a speakeasy. So when students were walking around outside, there was this one little door on the side of one of our buildings or dorms, and the light would change color. And whatever color the light would be onto would be what kind of food we were serving. So we serve, out of there, we serve a Latin-style bowls, which has all been customized. So Asian bowls, Mediterranean bowls, Indian bowl, and a farm to fork. And so we knew the rotation, right? And we had to plan it out to make sure that we're utilizing all the product. But it was really nice because it was something different. So the students didn't know what was going to happen. We usually run a lot of specials out there. This is where we get to be a lot more creative, doing lamb meatballs, or we even serve Spanish octopus, falafels, the seared salmon, all the different bases. So we would have 4 cold bases and 3 hot bases that they can choose from, and then go up to 6 different style proteins. Then when it gets to toppings, that's when we had a lot of fun. The cucumber salads, the tabbouleh salad, the pickled onions, like they mentioned before. Then you get to pick your toppings, and then you get to pick your dressings and spreads. So again, it was customized, and not only, like Michael was saying, like the color wise, right? It was the freshness. So we really got it down to timing and being able to stock this location and really replenish it. So everything was fresh. It looked fresh to the color point again, and again, it tasted fresh. So it's one of our most popular. We did start off with, like I mentioned, those 5 themes, but it always goes back to Asian and Mediterranean for us.
Those are really strong cuisines. So, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, and pretty healthy too, and a good focus on plants too. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, every Thursday we would do vegan Thursdays there. So all your different proteins were all vegan, and it was popular. So we kept it. We'll keep it.
And try that. And Kimberly had a question in the comments here. What is analog meat? How would you guys describe? I mean, I think of it as like Impossible Burgers or Beyond. Those are like the brand names of it, but like what actually is it?
Yeah, well, so analog meat is like the Beyond Burgers, Beyond Chicken have it. I'm not sure about the other chefs, but in the last literally 2 weeks, I've had about 9 or 10 different companies trying to get in front of us to promote their analog chicken products. I think the market is being flooded by it right now. We go back and forth on it. A lot of them, when we talk to our vegan students, a lot of them don't miss the animal proteins. That's one thing why they're vegan, is they don't want that flavor profile, and then half of them do want it. So we kind of try to have a good mix in there.
It is a weird, it is kind of a strange thing like that, because many people who choose not to eat meat, it's like the reason that they don't want to eat it is because it bleeds and it has tendons. But it's like, so why create that out of, but many people do miss that and want it too. So and that was just sort of like a terminology question. So we had that. And then there was one, somebody wanted Jeffrey to repeat a stat. What was it that across the industry menu size has decreased by? And I'm not sure where Jeffrey got that, but was it 13% or 17%? Like just across the industry?
There was a 13% decrease in the average decrease in menu sizes going back, 6 months. And a lot of that stats, come from Data Essentials, who pulls menu data across thousands of restaurants across the country. And that's what they were seeing, over the course of last year. Yeah. And I'm going to get a couple more audience questions, and then we'll get a little bit back more on what my questions were. This one is just a little misunderstanding. Did these faux trucks need a health department permit in order to operate? And I would say no, because it literally isn't a truck at all. It's just a piece of cardboard. So Nazim just moves that around campus, and it's not like a physical truck. Like he's not driving.
Yeah, it's like a catering style. You're serving a catering style meal behind your carton of the food truck. So
that clears that up. And we have somebody from Matthew from North Carolina. This is a good question. This is a thinker. How do each of you balance the rapidly increasing costs of products while maintaining an expectation of the customer of menu price and portion size? Who would like to jump in?
I can take this. Is Joey. So I think it's again, when I was mentioning before, we're all aligned, from the top down, right? So we get together and make strategic decisions based on questions like that. So we do go through every outlet. We have a lot of information that we can pull from our system here, our food system, that allows us to get food costs on each item. So there's strategic decisions we make, and if one of our dining facilities has, maybe 10 different items we're serving out of there, maybe 5 of them are a little bit more high cost and 5 are lower cost items. So we try to menu balance that. But also too, I think, again, being all aligned, right, we're giving right back to our students. So unlike the private sector, at least the feeling I have is we really make the best decisions for what our students want, right? Because we don't have this huge bottom line to go back to the shareholders or anything. Our decisions are made for the benefit of our students. So when everybody's on the same page, we can make those tough decisions a lot easier, knowing that we have complete buy-in. But we try to menu engineer a lot of things to where we make our costs work. But again, when you're doing 32,000 meals a day, it's really hard to work with one specific farmer or one specific ranch. We really got to work closely with everybody and make sure that we're getting the right product that fits our needs.
Yeah, that is really true. It seems like the balance, the answer is going to be found in your data and what you have. And the one question I want to make sure that we get to is my question, and this is something that all of you have something to say about it, and it's training. With limited staffing, how do you approach training? And to make sure, because the quality of your food is still so important. And I'd like to just hear about each of your philosophies, just sort of in a nutshell, for onboarding people, maybe attracting people, retaining people, moving people up, keeping everybody engaged once they're all part of your team. So, Jeffrey, do you want to start?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've all had to take a step back and look at, first of all, our philosophy on how we're approaching the newer generations of culinarians that are coming up. We all grew up in that's the way we've always done it, or paying your dues to the industry. Mm-hmm. And the generations that we're currently working with have a different mindset. I feel that, They want to feel like they're part of a bigger picture. They want to feel like they're engaged. They want to be part of, they want to know the who's, the what's, and the why of, why are we creating this dish? And, what does it do for carbon neutrality? Or, the day of, being assigned to an amuse-bouche and you had one dish and that's all you did for 30 days. I don't think that's what's going to attract the next line of culinarians. They want to move around. They want to be cross-trained. They want to know, they want to help with offsite catering, or could they develop a special and then you feature it on the menu? I just think, one, you have to retain the people that you have and invest in their futures. And then two, you have to attract new and, amazing new staff members, but you also have to change, your entire style of leadership. And you can't just have a broad spectrum of how you manage, that you have to manage each person's expectations. And, I always say, it's not what I accomplish, it's the people who I've helped along the way, what they accomplish, that makes me successful. So I think part of that is developing great people around you who develop even greater people. And that's what's going to lead us into the future.
It's true. And I try to write a lot about mental health, like in the kitchen. And do you think maybe it's hard sometimes for somebody that has been through the ringer and has paid their dues and was like, well, this happened to me. Is it hard to break that kind of generational curse of I had a chef that just kicked my ass and he really taught me good, but you'd want to be a nice, you know what I mean? Is it hard to sort of make that shift?
Well, I once, there was a new chef years ago that worked 40 hours a week, and they didn't stay, they didn't work 12 hours a day, or they didn't touch breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I had to think about it, and I said, well, nowhere on their job description does it say that you have to touch breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or that you have to be there 5-6 days a week. They were just doing what their job description did, and I thought, are we doing something wrong, or is that exactly what they were hired to do? Just because we choose to work 70 to 100 hours a week doesn't mean that that's everyone's mindset. So, we have to change, not they have to change. And I think that's a lot of the chefs really have to take a step back and think about, is it them or is it us? And I think it's more us, that we have to change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. Absolutely. What do you think about that, Michael?
Let's see. As far as retaining people, I think, we've got a few things that the hourly supervisors this year are going through American Culinary Federation certification training. So they're going to have that, that's with them. If they stay or go, that goes with them. We hope they stay. The chefs, the salaried chefs, they go through the Culinary Institute of America Pro Chef certification. I've got a chef at Hyde Park right now doing his practice for level 3. And also, there's just across campus, Carolina Dining Service, I think, does a great job at promoting people from within. Mm-hmm. You could just go across campus and see so many individuals that have been in all these different positions and worked their way to where they were at.
That is definitely cool. And I think it really empowers people, and it encourages people to know, I'm just starting, but here's this person who started 2 years ago and now they're the manager of this unit or whatever it may be. And Nazim's screen went dark, but I don't know if he's still, are you still with us, Nazim? You may have had some glitches. And so did we not hear from Joey yet on the training?
Yeah, I think it's all of the above. All the chefs have this really good ideas. We take this team's kind of sports mindset into how we approach things. We really let our ladies and gentlemen plan the work that affects them. I think they have buy-in in that aspect. And we developed a culinary training program. It's a 6-month program that we developed that people have to apply to. So we're like the food service workers that can become assistant cooks. So they go through a 6-month training, just like any culinary school. And that kind of really shows that how much we're trying to really promote from within and invest in our team. And it's gone a long way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it makes such a difference to have that training, because I certainly have had jobs in my life where I didn't get very good training. And then there comes a point where it's too late to ask. Like I was lifeguarding at this place. It was just a pool in an apartment complex. And I never really learned what the chemicals, like what was I testing? Like I would test it every day, but I didn't know what I was looking at for the water. And then I would just dump a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And it was too late. I didn't know. So it's so important to have that just established like training in the very beginning. And sorry for that little sidebar. And we do have another question, and this is kind of like, I don't know, nobody really is going to be able to answer, but COVID is again on the rise. And this is from Sue, from the Sous Chef. What a clever name for your company. But yeah, COVID is spiking. At my daughter's middle school, like a lot of them, like, and this is just their last week of school, and so many of them have gotten it now. So are we going to have to backpedal, do you think? Like in terms of reopening, or just kind of like keep playing it by ear? Like what do you think? Nazim is back. What do you have to say about that?
Okay, yeah, I had a little glitch on my computer. COVID is surging, but we are trying to taking away the mask away. People are getting more comfortable. I think we all need to learn how to live with it, right? But distancing, wearing mask if you're sick, if you have cold, even any type of symptom. So if we practice that, and if we just try to manage it, I think we are in the right track. I think we are getting better and better every place. I mean, my wife just traveling from New York. They said nobody wear mask in a plane anymore. So, but she's been trying to be safe. So I think right. We are heading to the right direction.
I think that's an important distinction, because like in our culture, it never was a thing to wear masks, but in other cultures it is. And like if you are sick or during cold and flu season, I hope that's something that kind of sticks with us, because I have no problem with that. I think that's a good idea to sort of contain that like you said, it's something that's going to be with us forever. I guess. I don't know. It's not, and I'm not an entomologist, but somebody else had a question. Let's see here. And we have just a couple minutes left. I'm trying to squeeze everything in. Yeah, there was, people were talking about bowls. Are there any other new age cuisine offerings that the chefs are experiencing good success with? Yeah, let's just do a very quick lightning round robin of some trends that you think we're going to be seeing more, like truly cutting edge here. Let's start with Joey.
The culinary trends. I'm sorry, it broke up a little bit on my phone.
Yeah. What do you think? You had mentioned sort of Mediterranean and Asian cuisines. Like, are there any other like sort of outliers popping up in terms of like trends or cuisine that you think that we're going to be seeing a lot more of?
I think I think it's a lot on TikTok, which I'm not on, but I get filled in with my kids and everything. A lot of the hack menus, like mixing different types of cuisine together, taking some popular items from each and kind of putting them together and having fun like that. We're doing some pop-ups like that for late night, and it's been a big hit.
Yeah, very cool. Michael, what do you think we're going to be seeing more of?
I don't have all the details, but I saw this mushroom meat that I thought was really interesting, and I think that would be because I think plant forward is just going to get bigger and plant based, so it's some type of mushroom meat. Okay. And Nazim, what do you think?
Well, echoing with Chef Michael, plant forward is the key, and at the same time, flavor profile like Indian cuisine coming out very strong. And at the same time, Korean, all spicy Korean kimchi to other Asian part on that particular side. Before, Thai was a very big hit, but now it's Korea. And I think, and at the same time, Indian coming up very, very strong with different koftas, different type of curries, different type of tandoori spices, flavor profile, and stuff like that. And people are learning more how to cook, because Indian cuisine is not only just put your curry powder in it. It has a sequence of flavor to build. Same thing with the other cuisine like Italians and other one. So as long as people are getting more comfortable, I think Indian cuisine is coming out big.
I know. Yes. And I think we were just right at about time. I could talk to you guys forever. Folks in the audience, thank you so much for attending today. This is all we've got time for now. But before we wrap, I wanted to just extend an extra special thank you to Nazim, Jeffrey, Joey, and Michael. You guys did amazing. And again, thanks to the audience for joining us. As a reminder, this webinar was sponsored by Nestle Miners. Thank you so much, Nestle, for supporting this. Nestle Miners for supporting this webinar today. It is a Cleveland company, very proud of that. And this will be available on demand, once again, at food-management.com. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you.